All right, how is everyone doing? It's been probably a year since I've done a video, and it's way overdue. I don't know how many of you follow me on social media, as far as like Instagram or Facebook or whatnot, but it's been a really busy year with the truck. Since the last video, I've done a lot of work to the truck, got it going and out to shows, and it's been a great year for the truck. And I'm really happy with how things turned out. I plan on changing a few things here and there, but I need to get everyone caught up with where I'm at on the truck. On this video, I'm going over installing the engine, and I may make a video with like going over details if people want to like know more about the uh, all the little things I did on the engine bay to like I guess hide stuff. I can make a video. If you have questions, put them in this video and I'll answer them, or try to make a video and include them all in like an engine type I guess video. But this one I get into finishing up the engine and actually get it going and driving. But not too much detail there because I kind of want to just get a video out because it's been way too long since I've done one, and I need to get a video out. I want to get a video going before I start new stuff on the truck, because I have this video and then I have an interior video of me putting the interior. I may add that to the air ride video just to condense things, because they kind of go hand in hand on some of it with like the center console and everything. But yeah, and then I also have a video of the stereo install that I'll probably do. But yeah, other than that, let's get into it. I'm kind of going to do a video of a voiceover on a few things, because some things that I thought I videotaped, I did not. So I'll need to go into that, I guess, explain a couple things. But I'll probably do like a walkthrough while I edit the video, just so I don't leave you hanging. But yeah, I don't want to drag the video out, because I know it can kind of suck when you're watching a video and it's just dragging out and things are being repeated. And I try not to do that, and it stresses me out when I think I'm repeating things too much or dragging them out too long. But yeah, let's get into editing the video on the engine. All right, so I'm here at the computer. I'm gonna start going over stuff with you. The video starts off with me. I just got the engine block and head back from the machine shop, and I was going over them, checking, just looking at it, seeing how it looked after it came back. The block was cleaned and whatnot, but I end up later not showing it. I end up repainting the outside of the block, and that was just with Pour 15 engine paint, enamel, whatnot. So yeah, I'm gonna try not to say a lot. Then after that, the block, I get to putting it on the engine stand, just so I can get it up off the ground in a bag. I essentially just throw it on the engine stand and bag it back up for later so I can work on other things. At this time on the truck, before I got the engine block back, I just started to cut and buff on the truck, so I was trying to get that taken care of before I went into other stuff. I could have made a video on the cutting and buffing on the truck, but to me it seemed boring and way long. If anybody wants, I can make a video on it. I already had a bunch of footage, but some of it I kind of left out, but I still have footage. I could make something if somebody actually really wanted it. But yeah, once I get the engine on the stand, I go and talk about what the machine shop did to the block and head. And I will cut to that now. Alright, so all the work done I had at the machine shop cost me $965. What they did was jet clean the block, bore and honed the cylinders, milled the block 5 thou, and then polished the crank. And then the head, they vacuum tested it, failed, it was warped. They redid all the cylinders, checked, made sure everything was sealing, and resurfaced the head. $965. I have the new pistons. I gave them the pistons when they were working on the engine, so they could fit the bore to match everything up. They wanted the pistons to, I guess, fit everything. So, and these are 83 millimeter. That's what they bored the block over. So basically 0.5 over, because it was 82 and a half, so they bored it over to 83. I didn't want to go crazy. I just wanted it fixed just because I know there was wear towards the top. It would have been out of spec if they cleaned up the block, so that's why I waited for them to inspect the block and then I ordered the pistons. Here's a quick little shot of the head. Nothing too crazy with the head, basically stock build. Someday I'd like to maybe go through and port and polish, but I don't know. For what it is I didn't want to go too crazy. I just have heavy duty springs and lifters. So yeah, the cams are they are the Autotech street cams, I believe. Not too aggressive, but not stock. So they're similar to ABF cams, I do believe. But those were in the head of the engine that I originally rebuilt. So, alright, so I've been getting started on the engine build. I had Joe Zayu kind of help me, kind of line me up what I'm doing. Him and I went through and installed the main bearings and the crank, and he helped me size some of the rings for the pistons, and then we determined that I should get my connecting rods checked out. So I put the new bolts in. They installed them to make sure they fit in there. They checked the clearance on the wrist pin side, and then on the caps they made sure that they were flat, and then they checked the OD and distance between the bores. So these all checked out good, and then from there, so those are ready to install. So then from there I went through and plastic gauged all of the main caps. So I checked them all and they were 2 thou clearance. So then from there I'm at the stage where I'm at now. So I'm going to pull the caps all off, pull the crank out, lube everything up nice, reinstall the crank, reinstall the caps, and then torque it down, lock it all down. And then from there we can go on to installing the pistons and the connecting rods and all that. I'm kind of gonna have Joe help me with that because I'm kind of nervous about the making sure the rings are all on the pistons right and they slide in. I don't want to end up breaking anything. So yeah, I'm at the point where I can take this apart, lube it up, and go from there. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Alright, so I have the caps off, crank is out. You can see the bearings the bearings in each one. I forgot to mention we also put the oil squirters in there. It's kind of hard to see, but the oil squirters are in there. Those are all torqued down and then Loctited in there. So now I'm going to lube the bearings up with assembly lube lightly, then lube up the crank, install that, and then lube up the cap bearings and then install those. And I also have APR studs I put in. I didn't want to use bolts, so I just went with the studs. But yeah, moving right along. So after that is when things start to get crazy. I installed the crank, did all that, torqued everything down, and then had that all set, ready to go. Then I had Joe Zayu come back and he helped me install the pistons and the rods and everything, and we got all that basically installed, ready to go. I put the oil pan on, rolled it over, and then I was going to have him come over again to help me install the head. And that I don't even have any footage of me installing the head. The head was pretty much straightforward, wasn't too difficult. We just had to find top dead center on one, piston one, make sure all the timing marks lined up, and then we basically torqued down the head. Then we installed the cams and the chains and made sure all that went good. One of the caps of the cam caps, I ended up stripping out the threads on, I think there was two bolts, so I ended up helicoiling those, which was kind of nerve-wracking, but it wasn't too bad. It was just kind of scary to do, but that went okay. Everything torqued down good. And then, let's see, once we put the head, everything on, I started assembling everything onto the engine to get to where it is now, to where I can essentially start installing it. I know I jumped over a ton, and I apologize for not getting all the footage of the engine, I guess, build, as you can say, but it was, at the time, I was kind of just stressing out, trying to get everything done because it seemed like time was ticking by, and I was trying to get it done before in the car getting closed, or in the truck getting close, ready to be running, I guess, because I had till April that I wanted to go to the Mininet show with, so that was my goal. But yeah, had the engine all ready to go, and that gets us to the next part, which is right now. All right, so this is kind of a big update, so I figured I would document it for the most part. So I have the engine sitting in the bay, basically. I already have the trans on, put the clutch on, done all the engine assembly. Still have to put the distributor on, and the itbs, coolant hoses, all that jazz, but the engine's basically ready to go in. So what I'm going to do is drop it off the blocks, the cribs, whatever you call them, lower it down, and then basically the engine will slide right up into place, hopefully without too much drama. I'm going to take that bracket off because I'm worried about things interfering when I go to fit it together, because right now I need to slide this back to get it to drop into place, and this one's pretty close, but I'm just going to take that off to give me more room. I don't have the front mount on yet, or the starter. They are there, so let's get at it. Let's see what I can do. So I've done this several times, putting the truck up on the cribs and lowering them back down with No real issues. The It's pretty easy for the most part lowering the truck down onto the engine. Um, Doing it by yourself can be kind of stressful though, and especially with fresh paint. I was trying not to scratch anything, and I did pretty good, but it was pretty stressful. Let me tell you, it would have been nice to have somebody else to help me, but I was kind of just wanting to get it done and into the truck so I could have Joe come over and help me get it going. But for the most part, it went okay. It was nice to have the airbags because I could basically with shop air like get it to lift up and then kind of line up the bolts and tap them in and whatnot. But it wasn't too bad. It went okay. The front engine mount was pretty difficult to get in because just lining everything up, and I have a aluminum shim in there just to make sure everything's tight, as you can see. So then I put it back up on the blocks so I get it back up in the air because I had to finish doing all the underside stuff, shifter and whatnot. Then I had some issues finding first easy, so I had to. It took me a few tries to get it to go into first, to I guess align things or adjust things, so to say. So it would go first, second, third, fourth, and then fifth, and then reverse fine. So it took me a little bit to messing with it, but here's me rowing through all the gears. So onto the coolant setup, I end up using these Gates power grip clamps. I used these on my Blue Rabbit, and they're basically like a heat shrink hose clamp. Um, I know some people think they're kind of sketchy. Some people don't know what to think of them. I think some people are kind of scared of them. But my blue car never had any issues. They're actually kind of not difficult, but kind of a pain to take off. So I guess they were stuck on there good, and the hoses themselves were stuck on good. So there was no coming, there was no them coming off or whatnot. They come with markings on them that easily come off with a brake cleaner or something like that. They'll rub right off, so you can kind of hide them more. But I like these because they are basically just a heat shrink hose clamp, and they look like they're just smooth stealth. Jose was actually the one that first told me about these. He saw them at a hot rod show or something like that. I think he saw them, but basically on a hot rod, I think he saw them, and they look pretty sweet. Like you can hardly tell that there's a clamp on there. And they're basically nothing more than you put them on, get the right size based on the OD of your hose or tubing, and then you just heat shrink it up. The when the engine heat cycles, they essentially get tighter. Once they get to a point, they don't get any tighter. They're a one-time use clamp. Obviously, once you heat them up and they shrink down, you have to cut them off. They can be a pain to cut off, but unless you have leaks or have issues or anything like that, you really don't have to take them off. So I guess it's up to you whether you want to do something similar. But yeah, they're just Gates power grip clamps, and they come in several different sizes. Like I used the smaller size for the oil cooler and the upper radiator hoses and whatnot. I don't really show me installing the radiator setup either on this, and it's basically a semi-tucked radiator with a fan in the front with a shroud. Then I notched for the filler into the upper I guess slam panel or whatever you call it, radiator support. So once you put them on, it's nothing more than using a heat gun, like I said, and just getting them to shrink up. You try to get all the way around as best as you can on the clamp. And like I said, once you heat cycle the engine, it will draw them in slightly. Just depends on how hot things get. But yeah, I haven't had issues with it. Like I said, I did these on my blue car, and so far on the truck, I haven't had any issues at all. So yeah. I used a little piece of metal. I tried to as like kind of heat shield for parts behind it, or to try to help wrap around and get the backside of the clamp. But I don't know if it helped or not, but I did it. So putting the coolant in, I ended up getting a Harbor Freight vacuum. I don't know what it's called. Vacuum, like coolant filler. And it's actually pretty nice. I basically put it on there, checked to make sure all the vacuum was there and it didn't leak down for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. It held vacuum, so I knew that I didn't have any leaks in the coolant system. So from there, I basically pumped it up to 25 psi. Then put all the coolant in a bucket, mixed it up, and then yeah, filled it up. All right, so at this point, the coolant was the last thing I had left to do myself. I ended up doing finishing all the wiring, which was kind of a learning curve as it was. I had a few questions I asked Joe when he was helping to get the engine put together, but the main thing was just learning how or learning how everything went, and then I just had to extend the harness that I had, and with that, all I did was used, I guess, made like butt connectors and just extended the harness from what I had, which was the easiest thing for me to do. And then routing the lines. So as far as routing the lines in the bay, the engine management is on the passenger side of the truck, so it goes out and up around the fender, and then under the radiator support, and then that goes to the engine block itself. The radiator fan, headlight harness, and the power wire go through the driver's side fender. So those, I basically had like 90 adapters coming from the inside of the truck to go up and over the fender, and then to the I guess the radiator support where all the wiring goes to, and then I just broke it off from there. Try to hide it as best I could. I didn't have any wiring issues for the most part. A few loose connectors that I had to fix and swap out on the Mega Squirt side of things, but that was later on once I determined that I had a couple issues. But yeah, from this point where the engine is, I was all set now to have Joe come over and basically be, I don't know, emotional support, help me get the verify timing, which we did, prime the engine for oil, which we did, and then basically turned it over. When we originally started priming things, we noticed that we weren't getting any fuel, and that was because I had the hoses mixed up from the tank to the tank. I didn't realize that the fuel pressure regulator goes after the itbs, not before, so the pressure was building up, and then I had a leak at the back, so I had to fix that first, swap the hoses around, and then we proceeded then to double check we had oil pressure, because the idiot light wasn't going off, and we just essentially needed to prime it more. But we double checked by putting a gauge on the engine block to make sure we had oil pressure, which was the safe thing to do. But once we actually ran the engine, it essentially shut off the idiot light. So they hadn't had any issues with that after that. It was just that main initial trying to start the engine that we, I guess, were kind of freaked out because the idiot light didn't go off. But anywho, we get into starting the engine, and this is Joe checking out I guess, verifying that the ITBs were all in sync. And this was my first startup on my own, getting ready to take the truck out for its like maiden voyage, I guess you could say, and actually break in the engine itself. I still have more things I would like to add as far as videos. Like I said, I had a suspension, like the air management video. I want to do that for sure, and the stereo video I would like to do because, you know, whole mini truck inspired build. I wanted to have like a little stereo in it, and but yeah, I'd like to do a video on that. So I have at least 2, maybe 3 more to do to get into the second part of, you know, changing things from where I was on the truck. Um, I appreciate everybody that's been following along, everybody that's asked me where I'm at on the truck. I know that many have asked for updates on the truck, and I'm sorry I didn't put out a video sooner. I've just been busy with life, and the year has been great with the truck. I went to a lot of shows and won some awards with it, and I hate sounding like I'm bragging about it because I'm really I don't mean to brag about it at all. I didn't expect it to turn out as good as it did, as far as getting the support and people liking it. But you know, it's all done by myself in my garage. Aside from Joe, and I can't thank Joe enough. I can't thank Joe enough for helping me, because I probably could have thumbed through it and it probably would have taken me twice as long. But I was super nervous with some of the stuff, and his help was greatly appreciated to reaffirm whenever I was doing stuff, putting stuff together. Even my little questions I've asked him via text message has been great to get answered by him. So I can't thank him enough. And basically anybody I've had that's come up to me talking to me about the truck and saying that they've been following the build and messages and whatnot, I appreciate every single one of you. And anywho, thanks everybody for watching. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I'm going to try to get this out before Christmas, so I have some progress, because I've been slacking way too long, and I hate it because I haven't. This has been in the works forever. It's just I felt overwhelmed with trying to get the truck done and get a video going, and I've just kind of been relaxing, enjoying the truck, and having it out. So I will for sure get more videos on everything for you. If there's certain things you want, like I want to try to get some driving videos and like more of the exhaust, like you can hear it and all that jazz. But anywho, thank you all. I appreciate everybody that's followed along, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, bye.